Hi boys, and welcome to another Spark lesson. Last week we learned about Abraham and God's promise to him to give him and build a generation and a kingdom from him. This week we're going to learn about Hagar. Now Sarai was Abraham's wife, and she had a servant named Hagar. Because Sarai and Abram couldn't have kids, Sarah decided that she would give her servant Hagar to Abraham, and Abraham could have a baby with her. When Sarai learned that Hagar was pregnant, she became very jealous and mistreated Hagar, and she ended up getting sent away. But God comforted her. We can find this story in Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, was born with no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abraham, "The Lord has kept me from having children, so go sleep with my slave, and perhaps I can build a family through her." Abraham agreed to do what Sarai said. So after Abram had been living in Canaan for 10 years, Sarai, his wife, took her Egyptian slave named Hagar and gave her to her husband. He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarai said to Abraham, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now she knows she is pregnant. She despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me." "Your slave is in your hands," Abram said. "Do with her what you think is best." Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert, and it was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I am running away from my mistress, Sarai," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now pregnant, and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hands will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility towards all of his brothers." She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. "You are the God who sees me," she said. "I have now seen the one who sees me," and that is why the well was called Beer Labroi. It is still there, between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave him the name Ishmael to the son that was born. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. We can see through the story that God had made a promise to Hagar, just like he had made a promise to Abraham, that she would have descendants. However, her blessing also came with a curse of that Ishmael would have hostility towards his brothers and towards the land. What was the name of Hagar's son? Well, we just said the son's name was Ishmael because God had promised her the son. What else did the angel reveal to Hagar? It wasn't just that she was pregnant, but there was also lots of other promises of what was going to happen in her life and in Ishmael's life. If you go back and read, look at some of those things that the angel also said. And then think about times in your own life when you've been sad and scared. What has God done to comfort you? He might not send an angel to you to speak to you. Sometimes that does still happen. But most of the time we can find those blessings in things like our family. Maybe if you had a bad dream and your mom or your dad comes and comforts you, or you're having a rough time at school and one of your friends comes and plays with you, or a teacher comes and talks to you. There are blessings all around us when we're having hard times, and we can always count on God to comfort us. We can also pray to God. God does speak to us through our prayers, and sometimes, just like talking to a good friend, if you're having a hard time, you can pray to God and tell him what's happening or what you're upset about. or maybe what happened at school or at home that's making you upset, and He can send comfort. Sometimes we just have a peace that comes over us afterwards, and other times it is somebody coming into our lives at just the right time when we needed them. No matter what the hard time in our lives, then we know that God will comfort us and He will always be there for us. We hope to see you this week at Spark, and if you're doing it from home, I hope that you enjoy the lesson and send me some pictures of you guys working in your journal. We'll see you this week.